Hi guys! Today's video is going to basically be a continuation from our pitiful royal siblings of Joseon video that we did last time about Chongyong and Princess Yeongchang. Now, another, very notable Joseon sibling pair was 영창대군 and 정명공주. In English, they would be Grand Prince Yeongchang and Princess Chongyong. Now, I'm going to be giving you a little bit of basic factual information about both of them, starting off with Grand Prince Yeongchang. So his birth name was Yi, and again, he followed the one-syllable royal name system. And he was the only legitimate son of Seonjo, so King Seonjo. He was the only son by Queen In-mok, who was King Seonjo's wife. But then he was born when his dad was already 55. So you can imagine he was super young when his dad was already super old. And he was born in 1606 on April 12th. And then similar to him, his older sister, was Princess Jeongmyeong. Jeongmyeong was the 10th daughter of King Seonjo, but she was the only legitimate daughter that he had with his Queen In-mok, and she was the full-blood older sister of Yeongchang. And she was born in 1606 on June 27th. And she was also similar to her brother in the way her dad was 52 when she was born, and then her mom was 19. I guess this is what people call a really big age gap. But similarly, King Yeongju also married a 15-year-old when he was well over 60. So these things happened in Joseon. So the point here is that both the prince and the princess were what we call 늦둥이 in Korean, which means they were born when their dad was super, super old. So as you can imagine, they had a lot of older illegitimate siblings. And this is basically where the issue starts. The main issue in their story is Gwanghae-gun. Basically, if you literally translate it, he would be Prince Gwanghae, but he was a king. He was a tyrant king. I actually made a video about him, so you can choose to go watch that before continue watching this video because you might want some background information about this guy. So basically, Grand Prince Yeongchang, he got this title of Grand Prince when he was 6, he was very young. But at this time, his older half-brother Gwanghae was already the crown prince. So you might ask, how can an illegitimate son be the crown prince when the king already has a legitimate son? Well, I explained this in my prior Gwanghae-gun video, which you should probably go watch. One of the big reasons was just the huge age gap, because this little kid, they weren't in their right minds going to make this little 3-6-year-old the crown prince when they had a much more experienced guy. And yeah, but then of course there were certain officials, there were certain members of the aristocracy, and the king himself wanted his younger but legitimate son to be the crown prince. So yeah, the king actually tried to change the crown prince from Gwanghae to Prince Yeongchang, but then he ended up dying. King Seonjo died on the 16th of March, 1608. And of course, this left the current crown prince, who at that time was Gwanghae, to take the throne. And then later in 1613, the prince was abolished and sent to Ganghwa-do, where he was exiled. And at this time, he was only 7. So you might have the question why would an adult king, feel the need to exile this 7-year-old little boy? But then again, like I explained in my other video, it's really not because he saw him as a threat. It's not because he saw this little 7-year-old as a threat. It's because there were so many officials backing this little 7-year-old when the 7-year-old didn't even know about it, trying to push him into the king's spot, and so that they could control him as a figurehead, because of course Gwanghae was smart. He was much older and more experienced, so it would be much easier for the aristocracy, for the ministers to control a 7-year-old than control an adult. So he was again a pawn in the political game of Joseon, which is truly very sad. And he ended up being killed when he was in exile, because in 1614 there was this guy named Yi Cheong, who was one of Gwanghae's main guys who supported him through his trials to become king, and he ordered for Prince Yeongchang's room to be burned and also cut off his food so that this little kid would starve. So he either died, we can suspect, from overheating of the room. If you look at old Joseon houses, if this is the floor, there'd be a fire underneath it to heat the floor. But then of course if you overheat it, then the person inside is gonna die, right? And they cut off his food. So according to Gwanghae-gun Ilgi, He was killed, but it's like officially noted that he died from an illness, but everyone knew that he was killed. So yeah, we've kind of left out Princess Jeongmyeong here. So what was Princess Jeongmyeong doing between this? Well, while there was this whole drama going on about her brother supposedly plotting against the king and stuff, she also suffered from it, inevitably, and her punishment was being confined to the West Palace. So she wasn't like exiled, and quite notably, during this period, she actually wrote letters in her father's handwriting to kind of make her mom feel better about the whole situation, and this became known as Hwajong. Now, if you're into sageuk, you might have watched a drama that's translated in English called Splendid Politics. 화정이라는 사극이 있어요. It's all about Prince Kwanghae and Prince Yeongchang and Princess Chongyong and, you know, their lives and like the politics and all those events that went on during this time. If you like the story of Kwanghae and the story of these two siblings, then you should probably give that one a watch. Chongyong, when she was 11, she apparently got smallpox, so she got very, very ill. She didn't die from it, although Kwanghae's supporters would have probably been very happy had she died. But her mother lied to them and said that she had died in order to protect her daughter. But then, of course, as we know, Kwanghae was a tyrant, and he was eventually deposed. And then when he did become deposed, her full brother, Grand Prince Yeongchang, was already dead, but then she managed to survive through it all and eventually get married. So this was the pitiful life of those two siblings. And yeah, on that note, I'm going to end this video. But if you think that this is an interesting topic, then you can probably go do some research about it. They are a pretty well-known pair of siblings, so there should be a lot of dramas and like little texts about it if you want to find out more. So hopefully this video was fun, and I'll see you next time. Bye!